true believers, the last of the L5R cards.
What?
Not the last of the set. This is the last of the L5R cards.
That's right.
It's a little bit depressing. I don't know why I'm laughing about all this. It's just like,
It's,
they're
I
taking
mean,
away
it's,
everything that's joyful in my life, so all I can do is laugh.
it's just sad, and I don't know. Like, you're already starting to see the atrophy in stuff like fan forums and stuff like that. You're already starting to
People,
see
yeah, really,
a
like, what
lot of people just stepping away. Some people are trying to keep the torch, but it's just they're not. They haven't been successful at doing it. So there you go. I mean, it is sad, but it'll live on. We hope
it'll live in our hearts. Remember, it only dies if you let it die.
it'll live on in our universe, and really, we're so selfish that that's all that matters. Right? We don't really care if anybody else knows about this awesome game that we're playing and having fun with. Like,
And
whatever.
hey, there might be some more cards out there that we could review.
Yeah,
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
yeah. I mean, it's been discussed, so we shall see as it happens.
All right, Aligned with Fire. This is our first card of the Evil Portent strategies, and this is a doozy, a Keyhole that allows me to not play Mahatsu Sensei in Enlightenment. This card might break Enlightenment open.
Yeah, I think so. I think so one of the reason Mahatsu Sensei was locked into all those decks was because it had to be, because there's the fear about the Ring of Void situation where it's like,
Yeah,
I
turn
discarded.
one, I have like 2 rings and Ring of Void, and you have to play it before after one of those rings and discard it, and then you're screwed. So you play Mahatsu Sensei to avoid this, but Aligned with Fire allows you to potentially maybe avoid that situation.
And I mean, I think this is just a legitimately really good card in that, like, maybe the one main movement effect you want to play is the Ring of Water, and you have some monk followers, and you'll get the Ring of Water, and you'll just play 3 copies of this and 1 copy of the Ring of Water.
Yeah.
Or, like, for straight effects, you'll just play 3 copies of this and 1 copy of the Ring of Air. And if you have enough monks and Shugenja that can be pieces, now you have to bow them, so, like, it's not like you have to do a thing to hit the search. But, like, that might just be a situation. You're not going to do anything with Fire because Fire is still unplayably bad.
Yep.
And it doesn't really do anything for Void. You can do it unopposed. I guess you can use it as a way to, like, tutor for Void. I guess.
I mean, if you're playing some comments, so like if you probably don't max out on 3, but decks that want Void and have Shugenja probably play like 1 Void, 1 Aligned with Fire, and like 3 Long-Term Fruition, and like that, and like a Wisdom gained, and then like you always have
Right,
Void and
so
always feel good.
we've played accepting the choice to get Void. We've walking the way to get Void. We've done these guys, and so like you can, and it's an open, right? So you can just do that for Void. Like, it's a really great card because I've made this exact point before. Tutors are powerful effects. Searching for a card on your deck, call that tutoring because of demonic tutor, is a powerful effect. As long as the cards you're getting are powerful, and the rings are powerful, like they're unique.
They're uniquely powerful cards.
Yep. So this is a great card, and I think it probably does push Enlightenment into a really great place.
Yeah, I mean, interesting place. No, like at the very least, like Enlightenment has all the tools now. Like if you can't, build
and
a
it's low
semi-competitive
focus, so there's still that back and forth with, do you start Fire so you don't? I mean, Enlightenment's only ever going to be a dragon thing because that's the one that starts with the ring. But I really think Dragon Enlightenment starting Earth is in a really cool spot right now. Though most people I think start Fire or Water, but I like Earth.
You like Earth? I still like Water because it's a pain in the butt. But we'll talk behind the scenes and see what happens.
Yep.
Okay, so Archer's Position. I really like this card, for a lot of reasons. So
the big difference between that and Higher Ground is that
it's engaged. So you can slam it out, and then as an immediate effect. And terrains are automatically really good because there's like a tutor card for terrain, Scouting Amidst the Snow, which is also an engage. So I can like scout, engage that, and then engage this, and then my things are bigger and your things are bigger, and like it doesn't care about things from the hand or from the table, so like it gets all their ranged attacks. And my feeling is, and I don't know if this is actually mathematically true, that there are more ranged attacks in the format than there are melee attacks. We already had Frightful Advance, which is the exact same card as this, except for melee attacks. But like we talked a lot about in other videos, where like range 2 attacks are not good because it's like just under the threshold, and so you play this card. There's a 2, 3s going to 4s.
People are building to get around range 3s now.
Right. And like transforming your unholy strikes from, I guess that's a melee though.
Yeah.
Well, whatever.
So
Like that doesn't diminish my hype. I think range attacks are everywhere. Um, it's a great card. It's like a great card. You can like have a one-off in a deck that can play scouting, or they can play other tutory effects, and people will be really happy with it.
my counter is just that we have a similar card for melee already, right? I forget what it was called, but you referenced
Yeah,
it.
terrorizing
Um,
advance or like relentless advance or something. And I think that card could
sure.
see play too. Like I think there's a certain construction of like a lion deck that plays the seven gold guy that doesn't know about melee three and plays Razor Fang. It's just that like it's just a type of deck that hasn't really been explored for no other reason than like there's no one exploring those types of decks.
Yeah, so I just looked. It's called Terrorizing Ambush, and it's the exact same card, but with melee, and you can do it. And like, I thought it would see a little bit. I think we tried in a couple of Mantis decks that tried to have a little bit more melee sauce, and the idea is that you could like interact with in a really interesting way. And the engage step with like naval scout stuff, where it's like I put the terrain out and I take away an ability with the steal and ability engage with your scouts, and then I make a melee. I mean, like, that was cool and fun, but the problem was that at the end of the day, I generally wanted like contentious terrain. I think the issue for me is that like if this was an engage action that wasn't a terrain, I think I would like it more. You mentioned how I can tutor it, but I just don't feel like I'd ever really want to tutor this. I feel like it's just not a good enough card. Right? I feel like I don't know. I'm I'm down on it because I never played Terrorizing Ambush. Maybe that's not fair to Terrorizing Ambush in Archer's position, but that's sort of where I come down on it.
Maybe. I mean, in like again, like the difference between a range three and a range four is enormous.
You're right.
And pushing your threes to fours is a big deal. Like on a Mantis, like I don't think in the reason why this is better than that is because exactly that Mantis PvP was all range attacks. And like that's the deck that can field an enormous amount of things, and a card like this can get a really wide value.
You're
And
right, and playing this alongside something like Ashigaru Archers does make me get sort of excited, right? It's like I'll have my Ashigaru Archers, and now those are making a range three once I jam this terrain, and I'm cycling through my deck at a really fast rate, and I'm tutoring for this, and I'm sort of compressing my Fate deck into a lean, mean shoot machine. Yeah, no, I think there's definitely a place for this card. I think you're probably right.
I think it certainly compares favorably to Terrorizing Ambush just because of the way the things are. So Avenger Slides, here's our like $500 rare card. It's a lethal duel. They finally printed it. Like
It's not
whatever.
lethal. It's a bow. It's
No,
only
read the
lethal
invest. If you duel
if
a
you
guy with
pay
no
the
attachments,
invest and they don't have attachments.
it's like that
And
counts, man. Like that's what we have these days.
fair enough, and it can blow up an attachment. And yeah, this is the chase rare card, but not really because they're literally giving the set away. But yeah, I mean, this is one of those cards that dueling was starting to really come into its own as a strategy. We made a number of sort of dually decks, and we were starting to hit, I think, a really heavy saturation point for duels. And
Mm.
this just slots right in there with the
Yeah,
other
yeah.
ones and compares favorably. We've seen Battle Bow Duel that doesn't get played, right? Like there's some number of those cards that like aren't good enough to get played,
Yep.
but those didn't have the invest killer thing, and the invest killer thing is what makes like I loved Odd Witness. I'm a huge Odd Witness guy. You know this about me. It's a
Mm.
weakness that I have. Nobody plays Odd Witness.
Right.
Whereas everybody plays Battlefield Challenge. Battlefield Challenge is the Bow loser gain 2 honor, right?
Yep.
So this is sort of a mix of those two, where it's got the Bow effect and it can gain some honor and it's going to see play because it's got the things that people like. What's the one that like bows a guy and gives force, or it doesn't give force? It gives
It
a
doesn't
force
give.
penalty.
You're
The Bow
thinking.
one is the one that you play 46 cards, right?
No, that one sends them home.
What's the other Bow one? Isn't there another Bow one?
There's the two ways of the dragon one's like a force swingy one with no bow, and
Sure.
the crane
Sure.
one's another. I think the crane one bows, but they can like dishonor and go home to refuse.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this like everyone will play this. It's like this obvious like, hey, play me, like you're dueling. It's just like that holding we didn't like, and these
It's like
cards.
Battlefield Challenge.
Right.
They just
I'm
go
not.
in
Yeah,
really
I'm
stupid.
not a dueling player, so I read these cards and I'm just like, okay, that's obviously gonna go in, but I'm not excited about
Yep.
them. Obviously, I get excited about zero gold cost spells that do nothing. All right, Battlefield Defamation. This is like
I
a
I kind of get excited about weird, cheap discipline cards. So this one almost did it for me here. This Battlefield
like
Definition. It's
enemy units, Battlefield, move your guy home. Oh, from
so
move
it's
your
not
footage
doomed
there
to
from.
10.
That's really strangely templated, but it's not
Yes.
absent
It is not absent. There has to be a unit there. It's not back to the front, but it's got the discipline move back in.
for 0 if you're
I
defending. Well, we just talked about this on the follower. Well, I mean, we filmed all these at like one go. Filmed.
Yeah.
So, like, why do we like this ability, but we don't like a follower with this exact same ability?
Because this one sits in my hand and I get to use it twice when I get to use it. Because I don't have to pay gold for it. Yep.
Because it has an
That's it.
awesome art homage to
Sure.
what is it?
I don't know. It's an art homage to something.
Yeah, it's the old cancel send home, the first cancel send home one, where after you cancel, you can't target
Test of
them anymore.
Courage?
Yeah, it's the exact same as Test of Courage, like the guy with all the arrows and the 2 swords.
Oh, yeah. No, you're right. I see that.
Like it's
Sort
got
of
to be
crouching
an
on.
art homage of Test of Courage. And it kind of like the same thing because like it moves them back in instead of like canceling their movement.
Anyway, I like this well enough. Mostly it's there because you have to have some number of move back in effects for draft because of the favor. It probably never actually gets played over something like Brazen Disregard, but I like the design space that gets occupied by variable cost discipline
Yeah, okay.
cards.
Let's do the next one. Let's do the next one. Let's do the next one.
Okay.
Let's do the next one. Let's do the next one. Let's do the next one. Let's do the next
Go
one.
on Assassin. Yay,
Hey,
Go on Assassin.
it's Cold Assassin. But I can't blow up retainers.
Stop. That's why I hate this card. Also, it's 2 focus value instead of 3.
So it's a straight downgrade from Cold Assassin. Unplayable garbage. Will not get any text. Unless Jesse and Paul carry the choice. Control is really close in this format, and like I chose to play like a wonky control deck at Gen Con, and I did okay. I think I should have made the cut. Like in my like Jesse plays perfect universe, I think I could have made it happen, but it was like a little bit. It was a little bit off because it's missing that like one shot like clear the way early card. Like Control needs a card like Kitsuki Judgment or a card like Cold Assassin before. So like, let me back up. Control in L5R has 2 stages. It's not like Control in Magic where you can just keep playing 1-for-1 forever because they're never going to print enough 1-for-1 trades, like no matter what. Control has to start off with a couple of 1-for-1 exchanges and then transition into some sort of infinitely recursive control engine out of Dynasty that we can just keep doing, taking an action and killing certain guys over and over again, winnowing them away. The trick, you go to sleep.
I'm listening. No, you're putting me to sleep. I'm dreaming happy dreams.
Happy dreams. So what you need to get to that recursive engine point, and the recursive engine always changes. You know, we had Sunetra XP2 back in Lotus, and then we had the Birdie combo back in Celestial, and then now we have this ambushed Herald combo now, and like that's all in place and it's all perfect. We just need something to get us there. We were trying to fill that stopgap with like the Longji duel stuff, but it was all a lot of Yahtzee flipping. Because you've got to get long, you've got to have like 2 duels in your hand, and they've got to attack you, and then like they bow their guys, then you kill their guys with long G, and it's a mess. This fixes all your problems. You just Cold Assassin them, and they're gone, and they can't take your provinces, and then you buy your Teiras, and you buy your Kimuras, and like everything's amazing, and you go to sleep happily.
Counterpoint. Planet Evidence was an Ivory and barely got played and wasn't very good when it was.
We have much different memories of Ivory Edition.
Well, I mean, Planet Evidence wasn't the defining card. It was played in some Dishonor matchups, in some Dishonor decks. It was played in all our control decks. But,
Ivory Edition control was a weird outlier because we didn't have the Dynasty side engine. Like the only way to make Ivory control work was to do a Fate recursion engine.
The reason control was so bad there is because Ivory Edition was all about sort of cheap guys, 4, 5, 6 gold cost guys with a bunch of cheap followers and family libraries. Family libraries, whatever the family dojos.
Family dojo.
Now there's no family dojo, so those decks have been reduced. And you're seeing a movement towards slightly more expensive followers and slightly bigger units, which this is obviously better because it's actually possible to get a positive gold swing now, where it's like they have a 7 gold cost guy and they attach to it an 8 gold cost follower, and then you blow that up for 10 gold. So there's some potential there, but it's hard to hit high chi guys, right? You're going to have to play things like uncertainty. It's going to take a lot of work. I think that there's still the reason they're able to print this card is that there's still some sort of fundamental foundational issues that make it just so unbelievably inefficient. It's not Hired Killer. Hired Killer you could put in like any of our decks. We started every Samurai Edition deck list with like, here's the Hired Killer.
Yeah.
Let's proceed from there. This isn't that. This has to be very specific in the spots that it hits to get its value. So I think it's a good card, but I don't know if it's... I mean, I still worry that you're going to face down an opponent that has 25 guys and they all cost 5 gold, and you're never going to have a meaningful target, and it's going to be tough.
The thing about it is that, and I really disagree with your evaluation of the Ivory environment, that the problem with Ivory control was the lack of the handoff. That like we were always stuck in like fly by the seat of your pants mode because we were always just recursing really expensive control cards. And we never got to that point where you could just point your control gun and go like pow.
Only because we didn't spend enough time with my Coils of Madness, Isuwa Sukekin, Ashelon Blade combo deck, which I maintain was going to get somewhere.
This is a trolling thing because that was actually my deck and it was a huge mess. You also forgot to mention I played the Yoda Sensei.
We didn't play it at the start of Ivory. We didn't. We missed an opportunity. I stand by that.
I agree with you. Anyway, so like I'm trying to say that control has 2 stages. There's like the dynasty handoff, and if we had a dynasty handoff engine of the power that we have now of like tear out ambush, where you can set up to kill like 2 guys in a turn easily by the end of the game, 3 guys even with the shapeshifters, then there would have been no problem. It's irrelevant how many guys they can put out on the board. All that Betrayed Within or a card like a Betrayed Within and Call Out Assassin does is it simultaneously is a force penalty, like -3 force, but then it subtracts that force from the snowball. Like what control cares about is the snowball, and like killing a 3 force guy is fine. That's all you need to do. You subtract 3 force.
Yeah, sometimes that's enough.
And then you flashy. But what matters about reducing the 3 force and why it's better, like infinitely better than a card like Uncertainty, is because they don't get that 3 force back next turn.
Fair enough. So anyway, obviously we love this card. We've played Call Out Assassin a lot.
A fair number of times. Like if there was a graph you could see of like actions played over the history of like L5R career, it'd be like Test of Honor like way across the top, and then like Call Out Assassin way across the top, and then like Dark Lord's Favor way across the top, and then like Refugees, Outer
Hired
Walls,
Killer kept going
way across the top. So this card's sweet. I'm really glad they're willing to print it. It shows great faith in the health of the environment moving into that.
I mean, it's a really cool card to have put out there because it shows that they were coming around to the idea that control is not the worst thing in the world, that you can have effects like this, that it's okay, that the world will continue on. Which there was a question if we were ever going to see this sort of card, and we should mention that it's an open. Clearly pointing to the sort of slow elimination of limited actions, right?
Yeah.
Because it's so expensive, that's not going to come up a lot, but it does mean that towards the end of the game, that if you rip it off the top of your deck and you got 10 gold, screw it, play it as an open.
Pow, yeah. Unless you get people with attachments, if you're playing an Ocean of Gold. I like it because like you go 3 turns of gold and like sometimes it's inefficient. You have like 10 gold sitting up. All right, let's talk about Cleaving the Wave. I think this is reused art, but that's okay. I hate the stapled on Enlightenment meta. I never like these stapled on meta effects, but I guess that's what you have to do in L5R. But I do quite like.
It doesn't even really do it for me as meta though. A target player may only put 1 more ring into play. So like if he has to drop 2 in a single turn, you jam this, and then he only gets to play 1, and then maybe he'll probably just play the 1 next turn. I don't.
Well, because you play, I don't think you win.
But let's talk about the awesome battle, which is melee 3 attack. That's great. Now, which may not target a defending personality. Womp womp, you say? Except not at all, because there's probably some defending followers or whatever.
That's true. It can't pop defending followers. And then it
Yep.
also just, I mean, you're going to defend at some point in the game. Like, obviously, like, oh, Honor deck is going to play this card automatically. Like, yes. It's a
Yeah, and
really good Honor effect.
it's a great defensive honor. It's a great card for a type of defensive honor that we don't see a lot. And
Yep.
like, is it completely dead weight? And I'm playing an aggressive military deck, and you're playing a defensive honor deck. Yeah, maybe, but you have 37 other cards you get to play. So like, figure that
Yeah,
part
like
out.
it's a card with a limited amount of things it can do, but the fact that it's
Yeah, probably not a three
like a
off.
melee 3, like that's a really powerful card.
Yep.
Like, so I think
So
it's worth investigating like where this can fit. I don't have like anything off the top of my head and say like this is the deck, you must play it here, but it's the kind of thing where like we play we play like Never Die or whatever, like the melee one like redraw, you know?
yeah,
Not yet, and this is not the
not
end of
this
it.
day.
Not this
Yeah,
day. Like if we play like range 1, you know, like there must be room for melee 3 somewhere.
I agree. Um, Having said that, the cannot target a defending guy, I think, is going to end up keeping it a lot out of a lot of people's decks, and that's because they don't fully appreciate the complexion of the way games often play out in L5R. That's
Mm.
one of those things that happens a lot. People are like, well, you mean I can't use this on an attacker? Well, no good. I'm always attacking. It's like, well, actually, in most games, there's probably some amount of defending you're doing. It's just mentally you haven't sort of taken stock of those
Let's
moments.
not write off the fact, by the way, that this card says please chump defend right on the card. Like it gives your guy resilient
Right,
after you
your
play
guy's
it.
resilient. Yeah,
So
like
like you defend
it's
and
a
you
great.
like kill their guy and then you're resilient and they have to waste an action to
Yep,
kill your guy. Like that's not this is a cool designed card. Like the fact that
it
it
is.
pops followers on the offense. Like if you're attacking and like they've got a Thaler, you just pop it off. Or like you save your one like 2 force dummy for their counter swing, give them resilient, and then like force them to play a card to kill your guy that sucks.
Yep. So good card, chase rare for the set that they're giving away.
Yeah,
Hey, die on your feet. I choose not to die on my feet. I choose not to die. I think that's what I'll do.
that's
But
right. So I choose not to play this card. It's an honor card for the 40 honor card deck. There's definitely more than
and
enough of these. I think you even
these,
have choices.
just it's draft card. You gotta these commons. You just have to look at them and say like this is there so that people can draft and there can be some straighten effects for battles because you want to have some straighten effects for battles,
Yep,
and that's a
yep.
fine thing to include. And
I mean, I
like
keep noting.
if you're gonna have if you're gonna have boring straighten effects, you might as well give them honor so that you can highlight the themes and keyword.
Yeah, I mean, I keep noting the like the I think this Crane Rocket 40 honor deck might be a thing. So here's another card for it. Otherwise, we're
Yep.
done. Disciplined Advance. This is secretly a kill card. You got to get to 4 pH to play it, but I don't think that's actually tough for like Lion decks. There's like tons of little bump your pH cards, and there's even some printed fours.
Yeah, it's like there's the what is it, the Lion's Roar or whatever, like
Yeah,
the
it's
like
like
bow your PH guy or
pH plus 2
tactician
if
or
he's
whatever.
attacked.
Like
Yeah.
this is like the good playable version of that because
Yep.
I don't have to bow for it, right? It's just it's a force
Yeah.
reduction that will then kill you,
If
assuming like you
assuming that
can
you're
kill by your
assuming that your 4 pH is arranged for with like some weird stipulation stuff on it.
right. And if you're not arranged for, it's just a force reduction of 3. Like that's a fine card. So
We've played force
like
reductions of 3. Yeah. So
yeah, I mean, I played just minuses. So, I mean, you only really play this card if you think you can trigger the ranged attack, and
yeah.
you have 4 pH. And it's like the clan standard kind of deck where you have like little cheap things that give your 3 pH guys 4 pH, and then you can play this pretty painlessly. And that's very I mean, it's linear deck development, card design. It's sort of designed building decks for you, but it's a path that you can explore, and people will see it and they'll say, "Oh, I'll take my 3 pH guy, and this will make a 4. Then I'll play this card because this card's slightly above the power curve."
Yeah,
I
that's
don't think
good.
it's I don't think it's that far above the power curve that like it makes me want to play this card, but it's a good card, and that's a good way to design a deck, and you end up with this synergized thing, and
I think
people enjoy
I
that.
mean I think it's a cool way to design a card that's got these two
Yeah, and that's
parts
what's
and
fun
like
about
when they come
L5R,
together,
right?
yeah.
Like, yeah, it's like my
There are
personality plus this item plus my yeah.
there are cards that I sometimes like this card has, 6 to 7 lines of text and like sometimes we make fun of cards like this. But I think this card really uses its 7 lines. Like you read it and you get it and like, oh hey, okay, I get it. Like it's a
Yep.
force reduction card with upside if I've got high pH.
My only thought was, I don't know if it would make more sense to have it say target your unbound personality with 4 pH if they should just put that up front. This gives it the flexibility for like in draftees and stuff where you can like target a 2 pH guy with it. makes the wording a little goofy for me.
I
But
think because
one,
4PH guys are so rarely like printed 4PH, you've got to do a little bit of work, and I think
yeah,
it has to be printed this way just because if it you can only target a 4PH guy, it's just binder fodder. I mean, it's a common, so it's just a coaster because there's not
fair
enough
enough.
4PH guys out there. Like
Like
you need to be able
back
like I got my
I
awesome
wrote
Deruko combo deck, but if
back when
she's
we
not
wrote
out,
articles. Back when we wrote articles, I wrote an article about the dearth of 4PH guys and how it was sort of a shame.
that's right.
On to Duel of Shugenja
Which
at
is
this
not a
battlefield.
duel, so well done.
What the hell is this card? This card is like a crappy terrain.
It's a
I
cra-
don't.
it's a crappy
Okay, it
terrain.
does not. It does not pass my Whippoorwillow test or my flavor test. So it's called Duel of Shugenja, and it doesn't in any way involve duels
Yep.
or even really Shugenja.
And it
And
doesn't
the
even
art.
interact like two Shugenja with each other. And like these people appear to have walked out of World of Warcraft.
So I was going to say, it's a huge flavor fail because the art is clearly referencing female Iron Man, and yet the card does not reference
Damn it.
female Iron
You
Man.
beat me to it. I was like waiting for you to finish your take so I could make. So this chick appears to have stolen the Iron Man suit.
Yeah, like that's
And she's
clearly a
dueling she's
gender
dueling a
Iron
warlock,
Man.
I believe in like tier 4.5 gear. I'm not really up on my stuff anymore. But yeah, I mean this card is terrible. It's a common. You can't really read too much into it. It does give +1 chi, which you don't see very often. Um,
Sure.
but
It's great for my Shugenja Blitz deck because it's +1/+1 on a no, still not good.
still not good.
Still
It's
not.
like it's exactly the same as
Take it back.
yeah, continuous terrain. Like let's keep going. There's got to be better stuff. Ending the chase. Is this
Let's
better?
end the chase.
It's discipline. It
Okay, so you talked
dishonors.
about the 40 honor card deck, which I don't think it'll be a thing, but it might be. And if it does, one of the ways that deck will work is it's like you'll buy your guy, you'll proclaim, you'll dump out all your honor cards, and then you won't have a fate hand and you don't know what to do. Except if all your honor cards have discipline, you'll still be able to sort of do a few things. So
Hmm.
like that to me, if that deck is to ever work, it will work with the cards like Ending the Chase that are honor with discipline
Hmm.
that sort of have some effects. And, Fear 3 and can blow some crap up, like whatever. But it's not good. But like that's where this card would work for me. Otherwise, it's like I play it to dishonor a guy, and then I pay the 3 gold for the discipline to use the fear effect. And
But
hey,
not
look,
in
I
the
bought a
same. But
discipline.
not in the same
Uh,
turn.
why not in the same turn? It's
Oh,
two
you're right. It's
separate
two different,
effects.
two separate abilities. Okay, you're right. So for low
But
cost of
you know,
3 gold and 2 actions, you can kill a guy.
it's a card that forces people to learn what discipline is when they open it in a booster pack, and you see it right there, and how it works is straightforward. It's not good. It doesn't belong in constructed level play because dishonoring people is not that hard anymore,
Yeah.
and Fear 3 isn't that good anymore.
But if they're designed as a
Though I
range
guess
3,
Fear 3 that can target items isn't terrible.
yeah.
No, because it still has to be a card in a dishonorable unit. If it was like Fear 3, destroy the thing it bows, I'd like it, but it's not that. So,
I think this will see play in Dishonored decks. I think that like they
no,
can't resist. They can't resist like sire your guy, defend, ending the chase, blow up your thing, and then like next time do it again with discipline. Like they can't resist. And I don't blame them. I just talked about how I wanted to play
you're right.
that
I mean,
melee 3
people play
defending.
Akura is released all the time. Akura is released as a card that all the time sees play in deck with Fear
Yeah.
Effect. So they go, here,
Yeah.
play this. And like, if you've dishonored a guy before, isn't this just sort of a Fear 3 with the Akura release sort of
Built
locked in
in.
there?
And I mean, I
So,
just babbled on and on about that cutting the wave. That like this is a muted from your hand. You've got to find room for that. And so like if this is a dishonor deck and I'm consistently dishonoring their guys, isn't this the exact same card?
yeah, and you can twice kill
Right,
two
except it
things.
has discipline. And so we don't care about the first mode because we're playing this in a deck that dishonors guys consistently, and then we're just playing it for the second mode.
Yeah,
So there you
okay.
go.
So, and the trails said card cost karmic or the cards interrupt if it's interrupt the tactical. I feel like this is a parody now of the jokes people make up like the wordness and confusion of L5R. Stuff that people talk about in the game. This like gets out a lot of sort of how much nonsense, ridiculous. Like there's so many keywords and there's so many uh abilities and the rules are. And I feel like this card was meant to be like some sort of like parody joke.
I
Do you
guess.
agree?
I mean, sort of, but I think it's a really good card.
Right. So let's talk about that. You think this is a really good card because it says draw a card on it?
I think it's a really good card because it says draw card after you do something. Like it turns a certain subset of cards into cycle effects.
Right. So I mean, the that line of text about the interrupt tactical advantage is really important because if you had to pay 1 gold, I'd hate this ability. But the idea of I attack with my tactician, I focus my 4, and I immediately draw a card so that like all I've done is turn my card into gain +4 force. Well, gain +4 force is actually a really solid battle action. Four
Plus,
is a big
if you
number.
tack if you tacked a discipline card at the same time, like
Right, and if you tag the discipline, or the card that there's the card that like when you tack it, you draw a card.
I was
Like
going to talk about
if you
that
did
next. Like you tack that and draw 2,
yeah.
and now it's like
So like that's all awesome. So if you have this in play, that's great. Except now you've sacrificed a fate card to put this into play to gain that card advantage, and I don't know if that's a worthwhile exchange. And by the by, tacticians are all still overpriced.
we saw just in this set a couple of cheaper tacticians that make the cut. So, point A. Point B is that that's not the only purpose. Like, you hate this card in a deck that plays progressive, where I can go like pay 1 gold, discard some cards from progressive, and then draw 1 back.
Okay, so it has to be battle action. So I'll notice 4 focus, so it works in multiple copies. One of the issues of karmic cards and even allegiances is that like they can be sort of they run into each other, and get a little frustrating.
You want to know? You want to know what it really is? You want to know what the combo here,
Well,
the Wombo combo? Do you want it?
I do.
Are you ready? Are you
I'm
sitting
ready.
down?
I'm sitting down.
Mystery
Let
box.
me stand up.
Mystery
You
box.
floor me. You're flooring me.
Mystery
So
box.
you go.
You go play mystery box, and then you go like battle. You bow it, interrupt, and so you like draw a card, discard a card, draw a card. So like it's draw 2, discard 1.
Okay, so there you go.
Wombo combo.
That's a wombo combo.
So I think
Mystery
this is a
box
cool card. Like it gets the juices flowing, and like
So this gets just as flowing for you more than it does for me. I guess when I saw it, my eyes just kind of glazed over. You're right. So I didn't give this a full shake. So there is maybe a kind of that. What else are these tactician-y decks doing that I'm missing? I don't see that deck coming together and being good, but maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe that there's a really cool sort of tactician deck that plays this card and does really fun things.
yeah.
And I'd like to see that.
I mean, I'd have to look into like what else we can do, like just discard. Like, what other cards ask us to discard? I'm sure there's some that
Well,
exist.
but having to pay gold makes it really sticky too. But you're right. There are ways to use this card to gain to hit some paper cuts onto your opponent so they eventually bleed to death.
Yeah, but I mean, like if like the one card I keep thinking about is the 4 focus like draw 1, and then you turn it into like a 4 focus draw 2, and like gain like rend the soul plus draw 2 cards. Like why are we not excited? Like please.
No, and that's good. The problem then is then like your guys are just these overcosted tacticians that don't do anything else. Like you're gonna play the lion tactician who increases the focus value on your Bushido cards.
And your Bushido virtue cards, yeah. I know what you mean. Like I've built this deck, I played it on camera, I know the problems in the card base.
So and now that I've made the joke about our Lion Bushido guy, I'll tell you the guy who I like this card with, and it's the Lion Tactician that he's 3/3 for 7, and it's like after instead of gaining honor, you draw a card.
Yeah.
He's a tactician, right?
He is a tactician, yeah.
Nor something. Norbitsu.
Yeah.
So like this card gives me a reason to revisit that. So now I gotta go find some high focus value cards with like pointless honor gains and jam them all together in a stew and like draw a bunch of cards with my mystery box. Like, I mean, I'm gonna do it. Like, I mean, let's not. Like, I'm gonna do it. I'm just saying I don't think it's gonna be very good, but it's gonna happen.
I mean, it's just a question of like with all these things is that L5R card draw often poses a quandary to the player of like, is this better? Because L5R card draw is never good. Like you never get a
Yeah.
card that's just like do something awesome and then draw a card. Like we don't get good cantrips. It's not that game. And so the question is always, is this better than just playing another good card?
Yep.
And like
And that's still the question.
that's still the question, and it hasn't been answered.
Because if you're just drawing cards into other cards that draw you cards that draw you cards, at some point you're just sort of out of deck with nothing to do. At some point you need to draw in.
The reason why I like endless drills is because it gives you more gas. It gasses you up while simultaneously not forcing you into playing cards that don't do anything.
Correct. And I think it's a trap to use this. Maybe it's practical too much. Because I don't want to ever tactician of mystery box, draw mystery tactician of the lion, which I use for its discipline, and draw, something offense or something.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's the interaction I want.
Okay, moving on. Let's talk about evasion. Our little like chain thing reappears. That's neat.
Baka Hatsu Gama, which you would assume is tough to evade, but whatever.
I guess
is that a Kuma, by the way? Like in the art, my first thought was like, hey, it's a Kuma.
What, the shadowy guy here?
Guy on the right, doesn't it look like a powering up Akuma from Marvel
Street Fighter?
Like Marvel games. I made a video game reference.
Well
Gotcha. Bazinga. Okay, so this is a compassion card, not courtesy, compassion.
Totally different.
To sort of remind us all that compassion still exists.
Remember this?
Yeah, that thing with the less provinces. So compassion with discipline, we're sort of jamming it in so you can like remind you how this works.
If you have a keyword, you can use a different keyword. This is like a whole nother, like, how do you say keyword game in Polish?
So
here's my question. Let's cut to the chase. Why do I play this over what's the one that's like move home, draw a card, gain 1 honor?
Sure. Why would you play it instead?
Because it's discipline sometimes.
Move home your target personality must be opposed if defending as the target. Okay, so first you can use this on oppose, and you can occasionally draw a card. So it's instead of time departure, I guess, is like the slot this competes in.
So like you get a card instead of getting like -2, +2. I think that plan departure stays like.
And it's got situational discipline.
Compassion's too unwieldy in military and military.
Must be opposed if. So it's like
So it's like a draw. It's like an I can overcommit card, right? I can attack and send home.
Yeah, but I send out my guy. I can send one of them back, and the target moves straight here. You and draw places. It's a solid card.
Yeah, I mean it's discipline. I can play it in my tactician deck so that after I draw a card off of endless drills, it's in there with discipline. Just it's fine. I guess there's a lot of this effect.
Having some number of defenders is important. Like, there's this idea that, like, I got my guys in attack, and you got your guys in attack, and we always attack and we never defend. But that's never really true. If nothing else, you want to have defenders to force your opponent to commit all his attacking units, right? Yeah. And this is set it up. And this is a good card that sort of helps play with it. And the fact that it replaces itself is really great. It doesn't cost you anything. Like, this is a fine card.
If you can make the discipline hit, it actually nets you a card overall. So it's nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Fight on your back.
Fight on your back. A courage honor card, which I think they should always come together. I want these cards always.
The courageous, the honorable.
You want to discard your card to do something stupid? Fine. Have both effects. And this card has +2 focus in a duel in which you were challenged or during an action that just. So it's great with your tactician deck. There you go. Your tactician
so attacking for 5 and like whoop-de-doo. But we already have focus, and like focus with courage and honor doesn't interest me.
No, none of that. This is a card that totally like stuffs our like long cheap dueling decks. So I'm like, I'm a duelist and I'm up on you by 4, and then I'll focus this and I'll lose, and that'll happen.
I guess, man. Like, Like it's like saying, well, karmic strike exists, man. Like you're gonna get got. Like okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Fighting
Um,
under.
I like what they're doing here. Like they're printing focus, but they're making it a little like niftier. It's the thing is that the reason people don't play focus isn't because it's not nifty enough. The reason people don't play focus is it doesn't do anything. And courage doesn't do anything, and honor doesn't do anything, and focus doesn't do anything. So 0 + 0 +
I
0
don't.
equals 0.
I really hate during a little challenge. Just make it. And I also want to not play the cards to play like stuff. Like honor duly that wants to get stage challenges and have it. Like, why can't they? Like here, I have a card. I don't stop restricting them. Hey,
Yeah, this is a little bit of a scratcher.
I screwed up my segue. I meant to say stop restraining them in this way. Let them fight unrestrained, which is our next card.
Okay, I was gonna talk about how we already have focus. Like clearly we shouldn't be afraid, but okay, moving on. Fighting unrestrained, which
I did a
could
whole So target your unbarred guy. If the
equip a
target is
weapon if he
Kensei,
is.
equip from your
So it's like an
discard.
equip. It's an equip with a little bit of upside. The thing is that these equip actions never get played anyway. Like if I want a movement effect, I've got plenty of those. If I want an equip effect, I've got plenty of those. Like neither get played. This is the
So
exact
you
same
say
commentary as
equip
before.
effects never get played, but Spirited Dispute gets played plenty. So
Spirit
I
Dispute is
think,
not an equip effect; it's a pickup effect, and you pick up two.
yeah.
And it has like tons of utility against dishonor and against dueling. Like
So you pick it up from the yard. Is there anything that's like blow up, like pick up throwing knives, reattach throwing knives, use them again?
I mean, there's another equip card that says equip and then
Yeah,
take a follow up, and so like that can't get from the bin.
right. The thing that makes this good is get from the bin, right? It's a 2 off. It's never a 3 off. You never play it in triplicate. It's a 1 or 2 off in a Kensei type deck or a deck where the weapons are sort of important. You're playing some number of big expensive two-handed weapons, and eventually a guy dies because that happens in L5R, and you sort of want to grab that weapon back because the weapon has both statistical value and the bonus it provides, but also it provides you one of your sort of battle actions, which helps hit your saturation point. Like that's where this card is good, and then it also gives you maybe a send home. So like
Okay, you got
I
me a
think
little bit. Like
the focus of that card is crap that adds up to nothing. I think this is actually a series of things that adds up. Like I think the plus send home to reuse a weapon. I think if they get tested out.
I guess there's the utility of like play for 0 on a non-Kensei. Like I have my Pachiriku no Oni with a bow of ritual
Well,
blessings, and I play it for 0 and I send your guy home.
yeah, okay, that's well. It has to have fewer weapons. Yeah, maybe. So like just a weapon-based send home. Like I have a guy with a weapon, and you have a
You
guy with no
don't, and like
weapon.
you go home because it doesn't care about attachments; it cares about weapons.
No, specifically about weapons, not even items. They can have all the armors and nonsense that they
They
want.
can have all the
Just
mystery
weapons.
boxes they want. They
Yeah.
can't have a ready unfinished blade. Okay, illegal
Yeah.
justice. Let's talk about it. Let me read it first. So it's a
Very
fear and a
equal.
magistrate. I'm not optimistic on this one.
I've read it once and I don't know what it does.
Yeah,
Let's
okay. It's
try
like,
try together. So fear equal to chi that may target items and spells. I'm with you.
but not
So
followers.
far, I
Okay,
got
yeah, I guess
guy,
fear can always
item,
target
spell.
followers. Smarm
It can
failed.
also target follower, obviously, because fear can do that.
Smarm failed. I already acknowledged it.
If your personality is a magistrate and the personality in the target entity is dishonorable or Shadowlands, the fear destroys cards after bowing them. Bow your personality if this. Okay, so it's a really wordy, takes forever kill effect sometimes.
It's just like the other one that we saw previously.
Don't, don't say just like. Let's not do
It's
that.
similar to the
But
one that we saw previously, the end the chase,
right, but
because
it doesn't naturally dishonor them, so you still have to dishonor them.
he's also dishonor them. But everything when I talked about end the chase, I
You
talked
still
about
have to
how it's
be
just for
lost
decks with
keyboard
dishonoring
or something.
stuff. The reason
Yeah.
why end the chase is better is because it's discipline and it doesn't bow. Like this, having the upside of this is that I can make bigger than 3. Like that one just says 3 blow up something. This one says fear equal to chi and like dragon have some magistrates with 4 chi, and like that's a deck that would want this because they have the sensei that says when you blow up a guy, gain an honor. So the upside is you get like that variable chi power. The downside is you have to bow your guy.
Just small spider players, like that might be a thing. You just be like, oh, thanks your shot, guys. I guess I kill them.
No, I mean, like, a card like this, you only ever play in a deck that's consistently dishonoring. So I don't think like it's too. Like, I think you only ever get it with the kill effect, except in like pinchy corner case situations. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't know, like it. I don't know what the current action suite that Scorpion Dishonor is playing. I don't know like the personality suite if they have the magistrates to support this. But I think this is like a unicorn crane mantis or unicorn crane dragon magistrate dishonor support card and like.
And we've seen this. We've seen so many cards like the illegal. We saw, what was it in Emperor? Emperor was dispensing justice, and we have restoring order.
I mean, people play those cards, you know? Like, they are what they are.
And almost all of them, with their magistrate, dishonor, killer thing, end up finding their way into decks eventually. And I think this is the same. It's just sort of what's the right, where are the magistrates? Who's got the good magistrates? Who's got the magistrates that set up easy dishonor that can also
who's got you got the dishonor and the magistrates. The card's unplayable if you're not dishonoring. We don't have...
Right, and they have to have a cheese stat, so... should we talk about the Shadowlands bit in relation to the Phoenix guy we've played, the guy that gives out -2 force and taints him? Like,
good question.
That come up?
No.
You don't think so? You don't think there's a, like...
I mean, that's what it's in there for, to, like, I taint you, and then you defend and play illegal justice. Like, if you want to go that route, go that route, man. Like, I have nothing to say about it. Like, all that Phoenix setup-y stuff, when, like, they counter Shadowlands sometimes, but not other times, like... I just have nothing to say about it.
Okay, I mean, that's fair. You're indifferent?
I am completely indifferent to it.
Indifferent to indifference. It's an honor card, yay!
Yay!
And if more card is destroyed, losing the duel, bow it instead.
Okay, so that makes me sad.
Really getting it along to. We really got him out of the deck. Blue will target personality, no tact, or with 3 more attachments.
That's kind of a cool thing. I kind of like it.
They made it where they clearly think that it's super flexible and very easy to play. No effect. And I completely agree. I think this card's great. I think you can play it in all decks and military decks. I think that I don't think I'd ever play 3 copies of it. I think I'd often probably play only 2 copies of it because I have to wait to see how the environment shapes out. But I think it'll always be a target for indifference somewhere down the line. I mean, the fear is that you're facing a bunch of an army and everybody has 1 attachment or something, and that could happen.
The fear of Kageto. Just like, I give everybody a sword. Like, what do you got for me? The fear of weapon artists. Mm-hmm. You know what? I'm indifferent to weapon artists. I'm indifferent to Kageto. Like, I'm playing it. No, it's
even like the Team Madness Shikadex, but like, this is a card that sort of just gets in there because you can play it, it does its thing. Over time, you might realize, like, I don't want just a send-home effect that doesn't bow and that has these restrictions at all.
That's a more fair point. So,
but you're going to... Yeah, it's perfectly justified to put it in. And like the send-home card, like, you can use it on yourself as well, which is another application that might come up from time to time.
It's like, I was going to talk about, like, sell me on this over incapacitated. It's one of those cards that's,
like, just flexible, right? Yeah, and it's a send home effect. It's a card you can just play. It has strategic flexibility.
Yep.
And that's important. Or I guess tactical flexibility. I always say strategy because I don't like to get confused with tacticians and L5R, but whatever.
Yeah.
Cards like that are very good and playable.
Yeah. Into the Shinneman.
You love engaged terrains that modify things, so do you love the one that, like, adjusts courage? Like, you courage up a thing, so you'll use your fear effect, and you'll be making a fear 2, you'll discard a courage, and now you can make a fear 4, and you'll trigger the terrain, so it's like you're making a fear 6 for 1 fake card. Just what do you think? 1, 2, but still.
You love
Matsukiya.
so they have lots of purpose.
We can
So
talk about
moving on.
shipment. Okay, this card is garbage, but you can wombo combo it with legendary war cat, so that you discard your legendary war cat to increase your battle cat fear effect, and then attach it, reducing their force, gaining force. So it's a total force swing of like 9 from a
I think you
mirror.
should build that deck. I
I'm gonna
look
build my
forward to
Into
playing.
the Shinigami. Yeah, okay. I'll play it on camera. Right now, this is happening. I'm playing the legendary battle cat Into the
Matsukiya.
Shinigami. Like Matsukiya.
Very equal to the honor
Right.
of your unbound personality. After this bows a card in a unit, each person has lower. Why is lower bolded on mine? Is lower bolded in your Oracle text box?
It is. Well done.
Okay.
After this bows a
Lower
card with
personal
personal honor, gain
give
+2
your.
force. Meh. Draft card. Kiaz, like battle shouts and Kiaz do not have like good.
I think it might be slightly better than that. Like, I think that it's in like a line attack deck or battle deck where you guys have 3 PH all the time. It's a fear 3 that gives you +2. Like, it's a string of 5. That's slightly better than average.
Still just a fear 3, and
Yeah, but it's a fear 3 +2. Like, it's
right, but it has no upside. Like in a line military deck, I want cards that I want discipline cards. I want cards that destroy stuff.
yeah, it's not above the default curve enough, but it's slightly above the default curve. So yeah, draft card.
I guess it could be an option. Like, is it better than the scout ambush card, the bow range 3? Because it doesn't bow; it just makes like a fear, and then it's like you sort of like lose the lethality because you're not bowing your guy, and you get a little bit bigger to like get some defense since you didn't remove their presence. Is like that the thing?
I think we've spent too much time on it. I think it's just not like fear effects are like when you look at what fate decks end up being now, cards just need to be like the average power level of cards has risen enough now that something like Fear 3 or it's just not enough.
You know what the other problem is? Like the really big problem with Fear Effects is that regardless of the amount of courage cards that exists, the environment, like the defining cards for deck construction are Unwanted Tutelage and Unholy Strike. And so because those 2 cards exist and because they're so bonkers good, they will always be a bias towards ranged attacks and melee attacks.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. And the problem with this too is that like I'm just always assuming I have higher pH than them, and that's not fair. That's me being just sort of dismissive of the total. Like if I'm playing against an honor deck, it's entirely possible I don't have higher pH all the time, right? It's entirely possible that I can't trigger this the way I want to. And the moment you're not triggering it, the moment all your guys are 3 or all their guys are 3 and your guys are like what, then it's just a really bad card. And you pro tip, don't play cards in your deck that can end up being awful. That's not good.
I was talking about My Steel is Stronger, which like this title makes me snicker.
Okay.
Like, is this title make you snicker?
A little bit. A huge whippoorwiller issue here, okay? Because one, why is it 2 dudes fighting? Like, doesn't it look like those might be breasts or something coming out of the one chick in the green?
Yep. So there you go.
No cleavage. 2. It looks very much like a duel, right? Some kind of duel contest, some sort of challenge has been issued.
Yep.
Nowhere does challenge exist in this card.
It's even an Ayajutsu battle. Like I was just convinced this was a duel.
And it is not. It is a target your unbound personality and an enemy with equal or higher chi.
Okay.
Bow a card in the enemy unit without attachments or any card in that unit if your personality is a duelist. Gain 1 honor if you are the defender. So it's actually kind of sweet for Lion military decks because it's like I target my low chi. Like there's 2 chi Lion.
Yeah, absolutely. Yo, this is awesome.
Sweet card for that where it's just like I target
I'm
my
a
guy.
stupid low duelist, like bang.
And I can bow your dude, or like you're playing the unaligned duelist who's like 3 chi. So it's actually a really cool card. It's just a bow effect, and it doesn't have to have a stupid duel attached to it, which I really like. I mean, I think it's
like
really
a
solid
backwards duel. You know, it's like you might beat me in a duel, but my sword's really cool, so screw you. I like it a lot.
And the ninja duelist who's like Tucci gets to play this, and it's
Yep.
really sneaky. It's like, you're higher than me, I bow you. And the fact that he can bow any card in the unit is really good. Gaining an honor is very whatever to me.
I don't care about that line. I just, yeah, you're right. I love the idea of, like, they've printed a couple cards like this now. Last set we got the blow up and attachment one, the shatter your steel or whatever it was.
What we love. Yeah.
And then this one, my steel is running. So it's like I've got these smattering of duelists and factions that don't really duel. But the reality is that they exist. Like, I'm playing Lion, like, this guy's force efficient. He happens to be a duelist. He goes in. Now,
Yep.
What does that get me? Well, here's some tools. Not just, like, making wacky duels. Mysterious murder. You know, so murder cards, there was a time in L5R when a card having murder in the title was like an auto-include in my decks.
Yeah,
And, like,
since
the rise of magistrates, like, it's really thrown off my, like, murder dar. My, like, control dar is completely just on the fritz. I'm like, oh, murder, this must be a good card. Oh, it's a fear effect about magistrates.
Yeah, and this one, I hate this one because it's like, did you read it all the way through yet? So it's a crappy fear effect.
It's a crappy fear
if
effect.
One of your magistrates has been killed, your crappy fear effect is a little bit less crappy. Like, it doesn't even let you kill the guy with a fear effect. Like I just can't. It doesn't even let you get like the, oh yeah, if one of your magistrates died, then you'll also kill a thing. Like, it just doesn't even get full event.
The problem with this card is that Zilkit's family doesn't make the cut. Like, Zilkit's family is the gold standard for this type of effect. It's like Fear 4, period, can target followers, guys with things, period. And, like, Zilkit's family, I thought Zilkit's family plus Akura's release would find a home somewhere. Like, that felt like a really powerful interaction to me. Like, you would touch a follower, like, haha, screw you, like, blow up the unit. And no, it just never got there. And so, like, there's no way this card will get there.
Well, I still see Zilkit's family, but yeah, you're right.
Necessary Sacrifice. This was a card, I believe, that was in the Siege. We knew about this one.
We knew about this one. I don't know if we knew about it from Siege. I think it just got spoiled incorrectly. So it's a really interesting card. So you bow your follower and you target a strategy with lower focus than your follower's force to get it back.
And then
if you're on a commander, you can take an action. So I love this card for a couple of reasons. First off, I think that having the sort of interaction of follower force and fate discard focus value, like the focus value, that's not something you see a lot. You have cards that check focus value, but it's very odd to have a you're playing a strategy, checking the number on a follower and then a completely different number on a completely different card in your bin, a strategy. I think that's really fun. Because I like, L5R has all this stuff, but a lot of the times we don't line our stuff up, we don't often have spells that matter and it's like nothing matters to them. And I like that this will force me to sort of like, I'm building my deck with commanders and followers and I want to play Necessary Sacrifice. But now I have to really look at my follower force and I have to really look at my focus values. And that's interesting to me. Now, it ends up being a little bit restrictive, which will be the thing that keeps this card out of decks.
Well, I think it's cool that it's really common for us when we build decks to care about high focus value because there's a number of built-in mechanics that care about high focus values in L5R.
Right.
This cares about low focus value cards. And so that's kind of a cool, like, in the same way that I like My Steel is Stronger because it flips a thing that we've been doing for a long, long time dueling on its head. This kind of flips that, like, focus value shift, like, the search for high focus values on his head too. Like, well, what do you got in the ones and twos so that my, like, every doofus can tutor stuff up.
And I think that this card earns its place. There's the cycle of followers in 25th, the fearless followers, fearless heavy, fearless light, all that stuff. And like fearless light infantry is a card that like never gets played. Maybe you tried to play it into Talking Sensei or whatever. There wasn't a lot of stuff that was triggered. Like there was a lot of individual actions on your end that were triggering your falls, maybe superior defense or superior whatever. I really think Necessary Sacrifice is one of the cards that would work really well in that zone, right? And so they're starting to see the commander deck really come together. I think Necessary Sacrifice would be a great, you play superior defense. Which you could bow to draw an additional card, but maybe you don't, or maybe you'll pick up your superior. I really like
sort of the card pool that seems to start to be coming together for Commander. I can't wait to see what happens when we get to Onyx.
Is this card
Given
playable
that.
outside of a commander? Like, if I'm just a deck that's playing a bunch of followers, can I slap this in? Like, does this card need the follow-up action to be a playable card?
I don't think so. You can do it unopposed, which I think is the saving grace. So no,
Yeah.
I think this card can find its place in something like just a Mantis type deck, where
Yeah.
it's like I have a bunch of guys with followers. I attack to shoot you. Oh, you didn't defend when I went for the province. Well, I'll pick up my overwhelming offense from last turn.
Yeah.
Like I think that's a perfectly fine use
No, I
of this
agree.
card. So yeah, no, I think this is a really great card. I think that's a hit. So,
All right, so here's
and
another
it
hit. You really like this one, Ninja Training Exercise.
yeah, I mean, I do like this card. Are you being sarcastic? Do you
No,
hate
no,
this
I'm not
card?
at all. I'm not at all. I think this is like it's a really good force to gold ratio. You're paying out of the box.
Yeah.
You're paying
So-
4 gold for 4 force,
Right.
and it's 4
And
force
if
spread
you
over
have-
2 guys.
Right, and if you have ninja, like regular ninja personalities that you bought from your provinces with non-zero gold costs, it gets even cheaper. And if you have 4 of them, then it's free. And then this action is make 2 ninja dudes, which is really sweet. I mean, it doesn't seem like it would be. It feels like it might just be like, well, I can just, Lion can just tactician a 4 focus value card and get 4 force and no gold. And so, but 2 ninja personalities with your clan alignment
Yeah.
let you then use those guys to do
To
other
stuff.
things.
It's like
Now
way
instead,
better than attacking a 4.
Yeah.
Because it's spread.
Right.
Like, spreading it out is you can't write that off. Like it's better with like contentious terrain, like right out the box. Like you get a bigger force bonus. Like they can't just send it home. Like when you tack up, they can't just bow it. Like this is a really cool. Like it's a cool card. It reminds me a lot of like a fixed Fury of the Hida.
And I think that's what they're going for. They're going for some of those type of effects. And I think what do ninja do? Like these are clearly the face ninja, not the pajama ninja.
Eat 'em
Right.
up, ninja. Eat 'em up. What do ninja do? Ninja
So-
eat.
I was setting that up as a whippoorwillow complaint because I feel like they should be like a ninja dragon in this art, not like a pajama ninja. But anyway,
I mean, it works with both. Like you get Shadowlands guys with their shadow. You get like faceless ninjas with their faceless. They really they made sure that whatever flavor of ninja you have access to, that's the ninja that you get.
but I mean, I think this is a really cool card.
It's a
and
very cool card. It's a unique effect. It's a powerful effect.
Yep.
I love it.
And it's not game breaking. So
No, it's just a good.
on
it's a
to
good-
opening the heart's door. This is the next sort of enlightenment-y type card. But wait, read all the
Let my
text.
love open the door. Let my love open the door. I'm on fire today,
That's a
man.
really good. I like that song. I don't.
Okay,
mock it.
so
Put your
Um,
target ring from your hand into play while it remains in play. It does not count towards enlightenment victory. Put it into your hand after the next turn begins. If only there was a way to play a fate card to permanently put a ring into play that costs no gold.
okay, but counterpoint. We like Kunan.
Yes. Is that a counterpoint?
Yeah, this is just Kunan's
I know.
ability.
Right, except Kanan is you can't see the difference between putting this ability on a 3/3 ninja
course not.
personality that does
Yes,
other stuff.
thank you, Paul. Yes, of course I can see the difference. Is there any?
I couldn't see your expression. I was confused.
I mean, no, I mean, okay, look, after I said it, I felt like, yeah, okay. The difference is that some decks don't want Kunan's body. And
But they
some-
want Kunan's ability?
Like, they don't, like, you want to, like, I'm a dueling deck, and
Well,
I want to be able to
First
jam
off,
void.
you're
Okay,
wrong.
here's,
All decks want 3/3 unaligned Shugenja. I mean, that's just science.
that's just science. Okay, here's a deck, but, like, no joking aside, not all decks want a 1 focus value, put a ring into play. Like, the 1 focus value on long-term fruition has been a bugbear for a long, long time, and this is,
Sure.
like, a clunky workaround.
But what is this doing for? So,
It's putting
Not
Void into
everybody
play,
can-
drawing a card, and pouncing Void.
so you're spending 3 gold to draw a card every turn?
Yes.
Okay. And you're going to use your Kata slot for that? So my problem is, one, this ability isn't that good. You need to also have the rings and stuff, and you could just be playing Gung-On 2. Like, not only are you using a face slot, you're using up one of your kata slots, and at some point you probably want to play other kata. Like, that's a real thing.
Did you notice that
I
you can
just-
have multiple copies of this kata in play at once?
Discard your other kata and play without. I did not notice that.
Is there
Is
any
that-
does that matter? I don't think it matters, but
I mean, I've had 3 Gung-Ons in play and not given a crap, so I can't see how that would matter to me.
all right, whatever. This door is staying closed. Next card.
That's really weird. Don't they normally say discard just all your katas?
Yeah, so the idea is like you can play out a bunch of different rings every turn.
Okay, well, whatever. Like, I'm never playing that card. I'm never looking at that card. I think it's a completely waste of a rare. I'm really upset about it. And
Okay.
Phalanx Formation. Your personality have +1 force for each bowed card type. Each bowed card type in units opposing it. So normally I would say something like it's fun to have these cards at common because it helps teach the game. But I think even the most basic players are able to recognize the difference between card types. So I'm not even really sure what this does. This card's awful.
Yeah.
Each
Okay.
bowed card type. So
is
so
there
if my
ever a
opponent
time
played all the card types?
in like a bow everything defense deck? Is there any time when this is better than defending the city?
I don't think so because
Okay, good then.
it's like opponent dependent, right?
Yeah,
Like
for sure.
what if your opponent's just playing guys and followers? It's only ever.
Guys,
Yeah,
Tarmogoyf is really good. What if L5R had Tarmogoyf? Like, okay, next card.
I'm trying to think of how wacky it could get. You can't have opposing bowed.
What's the maximum? Okay, so let's work out what's the maximum. So they have a bowed personality, a bowed spell.
We're sticking with the current format. We're not going to like include regions or any of that stuff.
Well, you
right?
can't. Yeah, okay, yeah. So they can have a bowed personality, a bowed spell, a bowed follower, a bowed
Follower
item,
item at 4,
and then they can have a bowed fortification. That's a
5, a holding, yeah,
5. That's a
and that's
holding.
it.
And that's it. So that's
Plus
not
5
really
on all
good.
your stuff. That's really good.
Another reason not to play fortifications.
Just so you need it. I wanted to, hey Jesse, will you build that fortification? No, why not? I'm really worried about getting blown up by Phalanx Formation.
I mean,
Okay,
like,
we're moving on to repairing the walls, which is a siege card. So I really like.
this is gonna
I
be
think that's
if you control at least
you
3
control-
personalities. Like, okay, I often control 3 personalities. Tell
That's
me
not
more.
bad.
Tell me more. Repairing the walls. Straighten 1 or 2 of your target fortifications. Oh. Well, maybe I can use it to like. I
that's
can,
awesome.
right, that's
awesome.
really good because I can have like there's the
It's
6 for
like
5 fortifications, so I make like 10
That's
gold.
a huge gold accelerant. Yeah, I can
It's a
get
huge
like
gold
6
accelerant. So like I can play my like.
gold.
You know, I got it. So I cracked it. I can play my like open kill your guy, and then I play repairing the walls and I straighten 10 gold. If this straightens
Yeah,
you for fortifications, they will not produce gold. Oh.
I just like, I don't. So what are we doing? Like what? I don't.
Here's what I'm
What
doing.
are we doing?
Here's what I picture. This is taking me back. Let's go back into Jesse's life.
No.
I'm
no,
in
no, no,
Toys R
stop.
Us. Don't interrupt me. I'm in Toys R Us. I'm 6 years old. There's a new Power Rangers Ultra Zord action figure. It costs $150. And I'm sitting in the aisle, and my mom is off doing something else, and I'm playing with it. It's still in the box, you know, but like I'm rolling the box on the ground because it's in one of those boxes where like it's half exposed. You can see the toy. And I'm playing with my toy, and I'm so happy. I'm 8, and I'm playing with my Ultra Zord. And then Mom comes and says, "We can't afford that. Put it back on the shelf." And she just rips it out of my hand, and she puts it on the shelf, and she grabs me by the wrist, and she drags me back to the car. Like, that's what this card is. It's just taking all my fun away. Like, what can I do with this awesome? Like, nothing. You can do nothing.
Here's my problem with that. One, I know for a fact that you attended the Lee Iacocca High School for the Rich. So don't tell me. So don't tell me you didn't get that toy, because I know you did. Two, we're selling short because with the siege open, there totally is a situation where I go, bomb my 2 holdings to play Colon Assassin, straighten the holdings on my turn, and then now because Colon Assassin is in the open, play another Colon Assassin on your
Oh,
turn.
I'm serious. Like, if this was
Like,
not,
that's a real thing.
if the last line of text was not on this card, it would almost get me to play.
No, I'm
Fortification
saying
Gold.
even with the line of text, it still makes Fortification Gold attractive because everything's an
I
open
see. On
gap.
your turn, yeah.
So
Okay, I see.
on my
I
turn,
see.
I kill a guy, and then I straighten my holdings, and then on your turn, I kill a guy because I straighten the holdings on my turn. So like, there's still accelerant potential here. Like in like follower decks, this thing is still pretty sweet. Where I go like, I have 3 guys. I buy my Fortification Gold to put down my attachments. I straighten my fortifications, and then on your turn, I put down more attachments.
How about turn 1? I flip like the 4/4, like the Clan Heartland, whatever it's called, like the 4/4 Fortification Gold, and then 2. I can't do it because I need 3 personalities. Never mind.
Yeah.
So never mind. But okay, yeah. So like this card is almost a card. Like it's not a card because you're playing Fortification Gold, and like this is just like the kind of card that's gonna die on the rocks of reality as soon as the tides.
Oh, it's
something.
It's gonna die, but I'm gonna try it. I mean, we have the Ivory Courtroom. We have the other card that you can buy.
Yeah, there's
as
open. There's even like the spider guy that you can buy as an open if you're compassionate.
Yeah.
So like there's stuff you can do as opens, and like that's cool. So take a crack at it and report back to me. But that's your job because I ain't doing it. I have a reputation to protect. I can't just go play Fortification Gold now.
You were voted most likely to not bother with fortifications in your Lee Iacocca School of the Rich.
Okay, Nick Fury. What is it? What am I missing? Your right eye, actually. That was easy.
So, give a target enemy personality a force penalty equal to give it to. So you target their guy, and they get a penalty equal to their stat.
What?
Pure draft card. It's absent if you went second. So it's like package. We like package.
Wait, no. What? What do you notice now? What are you talking about?
Courtesy, we tracing the steps.
Do you see the? Oh no, the printed ability. This is hilarious. So which one is it? The printed ability and the Oracle text ability are completely different. Look at the card and look at the Oracle text.
They're the same for me. We're on retracing steps, right?
I see courtesy. The force penalty is increased by 1.
Oh, courtesy. The card's ability is absent.
Courtesy, the force penalty is increased by 1. Are you seeing this? Like, am I going crazy?
No. So we'll just.
What does this card do?
It's never gonna be resolved. We like it if the courtesy is the absent thing.
We don't like it if it's increased by 1.
Yeah, and as a rule, the Oracle takes precedence, but for some reason I have a feeling that's not correct. Well, hey, let's go to the forums and check.
You can handle that one. I will look at the next card.
Someone in the comments, tell us what this card does, and then
we have a lot of these questions. Like, you gotta tell me. Okay, Scorpion Flexibility. I didn't know they were known for that. Target your personality with exactly 1 weapon. Okay, check. Permanently give him or her the trait. Will not attach more than 1 weapon. Well, that's a bummer. And permanently give the weapon the ability Battle, Bow, Melee 3 attack. If this weapon is attached to a Kensei, straighten it. So as an open, I can give a weapon like a Melee 3.
Right.
And I don't care that it's a no bow Melee 3 on a weapon because it's on a weapon, and weapons contribute force even when they're bowed. That's like the whole point. So what am I missing?
Quotation marks apply to the battle ability. So like, if you target a Kensei, it'll always be a no-ball melee, which may or may not be important. So it's a way to sort of level up items. Are there any items that are like after you bow straight and immediately that you can just hit whatever? It doesn't matter. It's not repeatable. So you're right. I think most of the time there's straight in effect. So
I think this type of card is appealing to a certain type of player, but it's secretly terrible in an environment with like the duelist card that blows up your stuff and the Your True Nature that blows up your stuff. Like, you're investing additional cards into a card type that is most likely to be destroyed. Voted most likely to be destroyed at the
Lee Iacocca School for the Rich.
I was gonna go with the Kwame Kilpatrick School for the Poor, which is where you attended.
So That's correct. That's correct. So the point I always talk about is nobody plays Crude Daikyu. It's a 3 gold cost attachment that just is like bow to make a range 3 attack. Nobody plays that. Like nobody. I'm the only one.
I
Nobody
guess
likes.
here's
And like,
why.
is it worth playing 2 cards to get? Like you have to play some other force efficient. Like you play Justice of the Crane or whatever the current +3 force for 4 gold item is, and then you give it a. And it's like it's 2 cards to do that.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I
Don't want. I guess like the straighten matters because then you can play multiple Scorpion flexibilities on one weapon and then like shoot, straighten, shoot, straighten, shoot, straighten, shoot, straighten. I have this beautiful, beautiful basket, etc., etc., etc.
What can I do? So I mean, we understand, and you can sorrowful prayer the card in, and then does that and then replay them and just keep going.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, next one, Secretive Defense. This is kind of a neat card. Number one, because like I no longer have to care if your guys are reserved or not. Like, oh, did you forget? It doesn't matter. You can't play them. But I like it because there's like a weird.
Can I back up
like,
for a minute? We didn't talk about with the melee card. I was just thinking about it some more. I was trying to think of a card that we didn't talk about. Scorpion flexibility with the Tetsuo's polearm. The one that straightens itself for the first turn. That also, so like if you target that, you just make 2 melee 3s with it.
But you always make 2. It doesn't matter if you target anything with a melee 3 because you just use the flexibility one first and then it straightens and then you just shoot it again with the red.
As long as it's a chance. Yeah, you're right. Okay. Anyway, on to Secretive Defense.
Which I kind of like because obviously it's a defensive card, but it has a corner case offensive application from the second line of text. Like if you attack and they have a reserve guy, you can like give their province +3, which obviously is hard to crack. But there's like a fun, there's like a fun calculation that goes on in your head of like.
How does this too work with personalities that are created there? Does it stop that? Does it stop my ninja action? That makes
no, because they don't. Ooh.
It's not entering play.
Is it?
Do we have any thoughts?
Let's go back and read Ninja card. Where is it? What's it called? Ninja training exercise. If there would be a post create, I gotta look up the definition of the word create.
So, but anyway, that's a cool corner case situation. These sorts of cards see play all the time, or have like Outer Walls saw play all the time. This one you have to commit a unit to defense, so you have to sort of sacrifice a jumping. But it's still a great card for different shapes of defensive honor, right? I mean,
I think it's a very cool card. It's not absent, so you can't win them all.
With discipline, it's not Outer Walls, but the discipline it makes it almost just as good. And honor decks with Honored Sensei into a Tomo Teneji, you're going to have some throwaway crap anyway, so why not?
It's like a cool one-off in like some decks, and I like it. I think this is a card that like pushes the pace of design. Like this is a line of text we've never seen before.
The focus values feel really inflated to me this set, and this is a clear example of it, where it's like this card can just go in these sort of dually defensive honor decks so painlessly that it's almost ridiculous. Because it's a disciplined for focus value card for a defensive honor deck, and you get focused it away, and then you'll still get value out of it. I mean, it's just really powerful in that kind of situation. So.
Okay, so let's talk about Stealing the Scrolls. This, in theory, should be a Jesse Paul card. I don't think it is, though, for a number of reasons. Like the first thing you want to do is compare it to the ninja copy card from the last arc from Celestial.
That's definitely what I want to do, but I know better.
Yeah, because this is obviously not permanent. It's just a one-off. You need to have a poison token, which I looked into it before the whatever we do here, the video blogging, and it's harder to do than you want to. There's no card that's just like bang, get a poison token. And yeah, I mean, all in all, it's like you get a one-off copy for like jumping through all of these hoops, and then it's not even a battle ability, which is where a lot of poison tokens get put out. So I'm unimpressed.
It's trash. I mean, all the like Ninja Shapeshifter exists. We play the hell out of them. Very few people do. For like combo, like late game control combo stuff, the non-permanent nature means that this isn't in anything. So this is just like if you have a really good military deck with some solid like middle action ninja personalities that had like powerful battle actions, then maybe you would play this with like for a ninja copyist for like a final assault. But then you have to deal with poison tokens, and It's just,
Yep.
you know,
Pass.
or
Pass. Pass.
it's just too much for too little.
Superior assault.
Another one of these. I think we saw this in the siege stuff.
Yep. If your follower is attached to
Follow your target,
commander.
unbound follower. Yeah. So it's a kill effect. So we like it sort of based on that, right?
Well,
Destroy
so
an
it's
attack.
not. It's just attachments. It's not this like a card with no attached
No,
things line where you can get a
it's
guy.
got to be attached.
Yeah.
And then if your follower is attached to a commander, you either straighten the follower or target and bow an attachment in the same enemy unit with equal or lower force. So if they have two attachments, it can't ever square
Target
with the
guys. Yeah, you like
personality.
get two. You know what this card? You know what this card says to me?
What?
Like I read this card and I think, man, remember arrogance?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's where I have to start paying attention to the commander keyword now. But I think I'm gonna play 2 copies of this in some number of like my spider commander decks.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I've got some splash commanders around, and I'll have some followers in my military decks. I know there's the Conqueror guy, the 5 gold cost spider Conqueror. He is also a commander.
Yeah.
So like give him a follower. He wants the follower anyway.
Yep.
And then once every now and again I'll go bow that follower to kill a follower and bow another follower, and I'll feel pretty great about myself. I think there's some other the Goblin. The Goblin's a commander too. So like this is a really neat
Capital
card.
XP.
I can never play 3 copies of it because
It's really cornery, and yeah, it requires them to have
I think
attachments. You have attachments.
It's
I guess
best probably as a one-off in Irani Sensei decks and
Yeah.
like other Death of the Wind type decks.
agreed.
But it's a lot of text to slog through, but it's worth it because at the end of the day, if you can trigger 2 effects, that's good.
Bow one to like neutral. Like you lose one, they lose 2. Like those are always good
Yeah.
abilities, especially if we're playing some like fearlessy stuff, which we might want to revisit with this set because there's a lot of support for it.
That's how you get ahead. So, Fall of Kundin Bayushi. Not really looking like a fall, looking more like something else, looking more like a
Looking like
conflagration.
a burn. I do like, so this is kind of cool. So we have like Kundin Bayushi back there, and then like this little guy up front, like that was another stronghold. That was like an alt art of Kundin Bayushi back in the day. Do you remember?
Nice.
You know what I'm talking about?
Kundin I don't, but I get it.
Like yeah, both.
I think
of
I
the
want to
pictures,
say Kundin Wasaramono, but I'm with you.
like both of these pictures were arts. I thought, yeah. It has to do with fortifications. You lost me. This is all on you.
Destroy your target fortification at the current battlefield to move home a target enemy personnel. So we have a bow the fortification to send someone home. Now we have destroy your fortification to send someone home.
Bow.
And you bow and gain an honor.
So
and
fortifications are so bad. All
Really?
they're worth, all their life is worth is a bow effect.
Can I talk about the cool flavor text though? Natoshi won't give he won't give him the satisfaction of torching the place, so he torched it himself.
He has
I
the
don't know if-
sociopath keyword. Like doesn't need to make sense.
Okay, fair enough. Also, Fall of Kundin Bayushi is a like fortification related send home honor gain card, like question mark clan themes question mark.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm moving forward.
I'm done talking about this card. The last
Okay, so
strike.
Ijutsu Battle with 4 focus value. This is going to be a dually card, except it's not. It's talking about challenging. Oh, it is. Okay, it's a duel, and the winner gains +2 force.
You know, I hate this card.
We've seen this card, haven't we? Like, oh no, the other one is minus but bonus if you're a duelist.
You're thinking of like unexplained challenge or whatever. It's like a minus force, then you get a +1 force token if you're a duelist. It's a mediocre duel. It won't see play because we've reached a critical mass in duels now of like good duels where like these sorts. This would have been played like 3 sets ago, but now we have like even in this there's the new kill duel. There's the new like backwards duel that hits guys with higher chi to clear the way for those. Like we have just so many options. I hate this card because it cares about the order in which it was focused and like list of things.
I was gonna get there.
I don't pay attention to when we play.
I don't want to have like what's the top focused card. A lot of times when people pick up their focus pool, they'll put it in their pile. They'll just reveal it willy-nilly. I don't want to deal with that.
Right.
Absolutely. And, I mean, this is just trash, right? Give a guy +3 force just isn't, like, that's just not.
No. I guess, like, it could be an enlightenment card where, like.
If you could do some sort of like if you have a way like where you're playing the like they have to focus thing, so you play the last strike and then you get to focus your sudden movement, so you gain +6 force. Like if you have that kind
Yeah.
of setup.
Like, I mean, yeah. I just, like I said, there's enough like bow you, kill you duels now that I think people will stay away from this one. Like force swing.
There's one I will never stay away from: the Search for Enlightenment.
Oh,
Another one of
God.
those cards just for
I
us.
need to know, but see, it's unclear
We talked
to
about
me.
this. The sequencing is really we don't know.
We
Do
don't
you
know.
draw
Do
the
you draw the card
card
before or after?
before you do anything else? Like if the target is void,
Draw a card.
refers to the Monk or Shugenja. So does it go upon being played, permanently increase the gold cost by
To
the
get the
invest
effect.
cost?
But it doesn't tell
Get the
me
effect.
when the effect. Like here's a card where the effects order like completely matters. Like, do I rip the top and then load the top, or if I pay 2, can I draw any card out of my deck?
So our assumption is you load the top and then draw the top if you paid the invest. In which case, it's a 2 gold cost walking the way.
And
Which-
hey, that's playable.
Awesome.
Which are
Like
it's a 2 gold cost walking that can be cast by a follower.
Yeah, like that's really amazingly great. And thanks for that.
Yeah, if it's not that, then it's like a weird cantrippy Aid of the Masters, which was like
Which we're still going to play the crap out of, but I won't invest it nearly as much, I guess.
For
is the
sure.
difference.
I mean, you still
In one situation, I'll invest it all the time. In the other situation, I won't invest it very much.
I will sometimes. Aid of the Masters was a really good card back in like Gold Diamond Edition that just did this. It just loaded the top card on top. We actually had less card draw back then. It was like slightly harder to rip the card off the top. Now we just like swimming in it.
Pre-traveling peddler, pre-counting house.
So it was like you were pretty much restricted to like cast the keyhole. It was like if you're dragon or it was fire, like give +2 force to draw a card. Now we have karmic. So like even if
you played your hand out and played the Old Ring of the Void, but
that was that was during. Do you remember this? This was the like it's coming Ring of the Void era.
Well, Aid of the Grand Master was definitely a. I mean, that was a gold edition card.
Yeah, that was a card around for a long time. But I guess the time that I played it was in like Diamond when you had that.
Diamond, so that was the press.
Like,
I do remember that time. I do remember that time.
They almost won Origin. They almost won Gen Con.
Yes.
So yeah, Search for Enlightenment. This card's awesome. Sorry, accepting the choice. Like, get out of my way.
It's so much better, and I mean, so I've talked before. The thing about this card is that like it searches for anything, and it's just one card, and then I'll draw it. And I actually really like its value as like a setup for the card that I wanted. Like just as a what do I want to draw in my end step play? Just like
no
I can
cost,
cycle it to. Yeah, like my turn is coming to an end because that's a thing that happens at the end of the turn, and I want to make sure that I have card X to try to blunt their offensive attack. Like I can use it there, for value. Or even you can do it as a battle action. So like I'm going to let a province go, so I'll defend over here instead of against you, and I'll play my search to get the card that I want to draw off my counting house or whatever.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of really, I mean.
There's play to this card for sure. It's like
it's a tutor card. Yeah, it's a tutor type card, and it can get anything, and so therefore it will be able to get me a good card. And so this is a good card. And you can't play all of these, but if I'm only playing one or two, this is good.
I can play some. Like Lordy, I can play some.
It might be better than Banish. I might like it more than Banish.
And
it's another card that opens up Enlightenment. It opens up Enlightenment.
Okay, Unbreakable Courage. This card feels like it should be a formation, like just from the art and from the title.
Yeah, maybe it's old reused formation art.
No, I think it's that one, but
if another player has resolved 2 or more actions this turn that reduce to any of your human cards' force, Jesus Christ, negate all future force penalties to your human cards from that player's action. So it's like. Remember how you would use creating order sometimes to like negate force penalties?
Hey, here it is. But you can't do it to your own. Yeah, okay, whatever.
After you've gotten so many force penalties, you can negate the future ones. It doesn't negate current penalties. So, but it'll negate what's about to happen. So
yeah. So like they played one, and then on the second one you break them all. Like how many force penalties are they playing? Like.
then it hasn't resolved, right? So they have to have successfully reduced your force twice, and then you get to stop the third and fourth and fifth and whatever.
Is that how it works? I can't like do it on the second one.
No, because it hasn't resolved on the second one. The second one's in the process of resolving,
All right, fair
interrupting.
enough. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, okay. So
So
this
this
card
is
is
terrible
pretty
because nobody plays that much force reduction.
right. Like, how many force reductions are we playing here, man?
Yeah.
Unforgivable shame. Okay, shame. I like shame. Tell me more. It's discipline. Okay, discipline, political, open. We're doing good. Bomb a target on courtier. Reduce the target's personality force by his chi. If he's dishonorable, he loses one.
It's fine. I don't think it'll get played. It's just bow your courtier to reduce their force. It's open. If you look at it, if you look at the whole card pool, there's like unexpected testimony and other type effects that just don't get played. Just open force reduction. Unexpected testimony. That's the magistrate one you'll
Yeah.
call. It's like
One thing
magistrate giving
we haven't
force.
talked a lot
Nobody
about.
plays that, and we don't. It doesn't involve bowing or anything. It's just like if you have a magistrate, give a guy -3 force, and it's nowhere. And I don't know how this could possibly show up. I mean, I guess it has discipline and it has a little shitty honor loss.
Right. It has discipline. It has honor. So one thing we haven't talked about, we've talked a lot about like rocket crane honor. We haven't talked about turbo dishonor because honor does an increase or a decrease on an honor gain or an honor loss.
Sure.
And so like this is a discipline card with honor for like dishonor deck. Like you're at neg like 15 and I play like some number of honor effects, so like I can just bang you for like 7 on that turn and like get you. You know, you can sort of like have a splurgy turn to speed you up by a half.
And that's really important. We probably should have spent a little bit more time talking about it. But it's just, as a rule, dishonor decks aren't about this sort of throw your hand onto the table situation. Like, they don't play favors, right? They need to get 2 honor plus a send, make you lose 2 plus a send home effect, and they sort of plan on winning through repeat. But you're right.
My
this
point
does
is like
have,
they can't go all in on it in the same way that like a hypothetical rocket honor deck can. But
but this
if
can
they
help
play like
the finish line. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, that's.
If they can find like 10 honor cards with marginal value, so that they go like when you attack, you go oppression like honor 4 times, like lose 6. And then that's like crushingly powerful.
Okay, yeah, no. So you've sold me on it, sort of theoretically. I still don't think I'd ever play it, but I guess that does give it.
Whoa,
that does give it some. So
let's see if. Come on, you can do it, Oracle. I don't know what card this is.
I'm on unguarded
attack. Yep. This is like face paint the card. Get it? You didn't take the lessons to heart. Ooh, like put the shades on. Who are you? Ooh, 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 ooh. Right? That's like the.
Really want to know. So compassion, the melee attack has +2 strength. Melee 1 attack that may target items and spells and has +2 strength if the target is an attachment. This card is sweet. It is awesome. It is awesome for the reason that other card that we like last set is awesome, and that it's going to just destroy a bunch of attachments all the time.
It blows up attachments like crazy, and then like once in a while you'll stumble like face first into blowing up a guy, and you'll feel great.
Yep. And like that other card, I'll play 1 or 2 copies of it. This might just be a straight swap, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. It has
generally spells or.
You might want to mix of them. Like this one blows up items all the time, which is cool. I do like the chump defendy side of the other one, and like I want to test it like once or twice to see if there's any value at all there.
I kind of hate this card because I think it sort of just like followers were already the most frequently played card type, and I feel like this card just pushes you to play followers even more because this card's not very good against followers, and it's great against items and spells.
Yeah,
it's a beating against items, right? No items really have that.
Nothing's bigger than 3. Like really, nothing's bigger than 3. Like no item can guard against the 3.
Certain followers have, if you're targeting this follower penalty reduction stuff, items, none of the items have that because they are normally immune to melee attacks.
Yeah, a lot of them give it, like there's a couple I think that confer it to the guy, but I don't think any confer it to like all cards in the unit.
Right. So this is,
this like just kicks, this is like curb stomps of items. And you're right, it might be a little bit too pushed.
Yeah.
In like the sense it's like an unholy strike type card that really sucks the oxygen out of the room. Like these like melee attack, ranged attack from your hand suite cards with like no downside are really starting to get tiresome in the sense of like, okay, I'm building a military deck, I only get to pick 30 cards to play because there's
And
already
it
so many
completely
autos.
shuts down, like, what's the Scorpion flexibility card that, like, gives item and
Yeah, I know,
bonus?
right? Like as
Don't
though
want to
there
play
wasn't
that. I
already
don't
enough
want
stuff
to
that builds up
play
items. Like here's another one that's
Tetsuo's
even
pole
better.
arm. All that is out for me now.
It's like, oh, you paid 9 gold for something. Like that's cute. I like how like Demolisher even like Wombo Nombos like I shoot you like I blow up your Demolisher like screw you.
So, okay, on to Unshackled. This is a fear effect, and then if it bows the target, destroy it if it has 2 or lower force. Maybe you'll play a copy or 2 of this in some sort of like go wide weenie strategy.
I mean,
That
it's
can't
still just
play anything else.
it's just fear, dude. Like you got to sell me on this over the Unstoppable Fear 3. Like the difference is that
Better
I can
against
blow up a
honor.
guy if I
It's better.
inefficiently use it.
It's better. It's better against honor decks. It's better against decks that have cheap little chumpies that you just want to kill them. You want to get them out of the battle before they do other things.
Okay, better question. Sell me on this over Not Yet the End or the card we just saw, Strike at the Heart or whatever, Unguarded Strike.
Not sure I did, but it's a fine generic common that has yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like what I hate about this card is that because the fear part and the destroy part are linked in like different ways, like you can't manipulate the fear to get more value out of the card.
Yep.
It doesn't say like fear 3 if it destroyed someone with force lower than the fear effect, like if it bounds them with force lower than the fear effect destroyed.
You can
know?
still do stuff like reduce a 4 focus guy to 2 force, play this fear, kill him. Like you can still do that.
So we're gonna play
It's
into the
just a
Shinam. We're gonna
common
play into
battle
the
action,
Shinnamin.
man. What more do you want? So not everything gets to be a constructed all-star.
We're gonna play into the Shinnamin, and then we're going to play this card, and then we're gonna courage it, increasing the fear to trigger the into the Shinnamin to reduce the force.
So in my mind, it's sort of an average action, an action of average playability is a card that's like make a fear 3 effect. This is just slightly better than that, but not enough to really make it into top tier constructed. But it'll make it into some lower tier constructed. It'll be like a filler of like I needed an action. I'll put this in my deck.
I like the card because it's a story. Like, there's a certain number of cards in L5R sets that tell the story of what's going on, and like burning, like the fall of Kundin Bayushi and a card like this are parts of that. And I really like these cards as an L5R player. It's just that, I mean, we're doing like a technical analysis of all these cards. I'm supposed to have commentary about them. Should I be concerned that Phoenix Masters have green blood? Is that worthy of note? That like apparently
is that he was in the middle of casting a spell, therefore. I don't know.
There's like some trail going on there. Like that dude is a xenomorph. I have seen aliens enough times to know what it looks like when you chop off a xenomorph's hand. It's like watch out, Yumi. Don't let the acid blood touch you.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if it's Jade. I wonder if it's gonna hurt Yumi. We like Yumi. Okay, on to Walking with the Air. Continuing the sort of. It started with, in 20 festivals, and we had some last set. Now we have Walking with the Air. You must discard the Imperial favor and give this strategy's ability favor political to play using discipline.
Bow your target.
So you have to discard the favor. I don't know. Am I allowed to just give? I understand what they mean by the wording, but am I allowed to just say like, well, I have to give something favor political, so I choose to give this favor political? Am I empowered to do that? Can I just hey, favor political over here? I got favor political.
Bow your target unbowed ring, straighten 1 or 2 your target cards and use. That's not bad though, right?
Awesome.
That's awesome. Like
Yeah,
straighten 2 twice. Gives me something
really
to do
good.
with my Ivory Court rooms.
Yeah, I mean, it's not creating order, but it turns a ring that you might not otherwise be using into Ivory Court into.
In a way, it's better than you're gonna call me crazy. In a way, it's better than creating order because I can split the straighten. I can straighten 2 person. It doesn't say like 2 guys in a unit. It says 2 guys in units. So
right.
straighten 2 personalities.
Well, creating order just straightened 2 units, right? I mean, in its original incarnation.
Oh yeah,
I'm
yeah,
talking
yeah, yeah, yeah. The
what
original
about super
incarnation.
crazy creative.
So it doesn't get the whole
No,
unit, but
but
you can't play it twice,
right. So
and
I
it's
can straighten 2
non-unique.
cards. I mean, it's really cool. The fact that it's discipline 0 is sweet, though you have to have the favor. So like that is a little odd, but no, I mean this is a really sweet card for decks that have rings in play, and it makes me really like something like Kung Aang. Like now when I play my like Shugenja military decks with Kung Aang, I'm gonna play a whole suite of rings just to put them into play, just to use with walking in the air. Probably. I mean, I just think that might be worthwhile to do.
Probably.
So
Okay.
I mean, yeah.
Wisdom's Burden. Here's a card for Jesse and Paul. Draw your top card, bow and pay 3 to pick one underneath and put it in your hand. This card is
Yep.
terrible. But
I
it
have
is
tried
nearly
hard.
unconditional card draw.
Are there ways to just easily straighten katas? Like,
Does air say in a unit, or does it say straight in
No.
kata?
Air is air is a card in a unit for. I know air. Like I got air. I knew air doesn't straighten it.
Okay. So is there a way
So
to
let me go
straighten a
back
kata? There are cards that care about katas. Like, let's go to my trusty app. Everybody download L5R Compendium.
to.
So we're going to search for cards that care about kata that are currently legal.
So if there's a way to straighten it to somehow do something with it, that would be the. That would be what I need. That would be what I need from it. I can't think of anything. Maybe next set.
I get it. I get it.
So you see how I might like this card, right? If I had a way to straighten it and like do it
Yeah,
all
if
the
you could
time.
like draw one. Like it's like a
It
it's
would
like
just give you a sort of weird tutory effect, right? You'd put it
well
into
no,
play
it's
and
better. It's almost better than Ring of the Void if you can straighten it every turn.
right, because
Like
you can just like you eventually get your whole deck under Wisdom's Burden, and then just like I draw this card, I draw that card, I draw this
yeah.
other card.
Well, even just the ability to like draw, you can bow it, straighten it, bow it, and pay 3, and like it's pay 3 draw card, which is also like I'd play a card that says pay 3 draw card, even if I
Yep.
have to like reach around my head a little bit. There is not anything that lets you do it, lets you straighten katas. So for me, this is strictly worse than Hidden Machinations.
Yep. Strictly worse than pretty much everything I want to do with my slots. It's just not. It's not good. I guess.
Too slow. I wish that the top ability was just no
It's
bow. Like
is there? Yeah, I just don't see what I don't understand what I don't understand what I'm supposed to do with it. I don't understand why I'm supposed to want to play this card. I play it, I put the top card of my fate deck there, and then I draw a different card, and then later next turn I can pay some gold.
it was like how long? Like how many turns do they think that the game lasts? Because the answer is like 6. You know.
It's
so
way slow.
You play it on 1, like get a single card, like on 2 you can look at your card, you can draw your
if like you didn't have to bow it, like there's an error in like one of the bow costs shouldn't be a bow cost.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the pay gold, right? Like it should just be open pay gold to draw. So it would be like bow to put a card, draw. Next turn bow to put a card, draw. And then like because there's no straighten effect, like that might get me there. If it was just like open pay 3 gold, draw a card that's underneath,
Yeah.
I might be able
They don't
to talk
want that
myself
because I think they're really trying to stay away from like effects that let you draw on my turn, draw on your turn. And so if that bar cost isn't there, then once you're loaded up, like if you play this on 1, like there is some utility in this card of like you play it on 1 and then you use it, and on 2 you use it, on 3 you use it, and like 3 is when you're ready to set up. So you've got like 2 or 3 cards to choose from when like you're going off. And so like that's okay. And if there was no cost, you could just go like I have 3 cards underneath, and I go like draw 1 immediately, then like your turn draw 1, and like my turn draw the last one, and like that's too good or something. It goes back to like my let L5R cards be good, but from where they're coming from, it seems in their design like logic that this card.
And I'm okay with this one. I'm okay with this one being restricted as much as it needs to be too, because the potential of it is like gain access to my entire Fate deck, and that can be a pretty dangerous place to be, right?
Yeah,
So like
absolutely.
I'm okay with this, like with how this is set up and the fact that it's a card and you get it. I think that it's just
It's
not
a
going to
cool
be good
card.
enough.
No, I mean it's not
Yeah.
good enough, but it's a very cool card. It's another like Juices Flowing kind of card. We love them. Without your weapons.
Now your weapons is 3 less if you have courtesy, which is when you go second, or
If
if
it
it
only
only
targets one
targets
attachment.
attachment. So if you're playing Oni Sensei, how good is this card? Battle, pay gold, destroy 1 or 2 target enemy attachments with total gold cost equal to the amount paid. If you target 2 attachments, they must be in the same unit, which must have at least 3 attachments. So my first thought is it's really good because it can blow up 2 things, but then not really because they'd have to have 3 things to blow up 2 things, and it's
But
sort
if
of that
okay,
weird.
counterpoint, if you go second, if you're a go second faction, it's just your true nature with upside.
Right. It's still a fine card except it's not open like your true nature, but it's still a fine like battle blow up attachments card. I just think we've seen some better of those in this set already. I just don't think it's going to
Yeah.
have fate space
I guess
for
I'm
it.
not even sure. I'm not even sure that your true nature makes
And
the
how
cut anymore.
often do you see units that have at least 3 attachments? Not that often anymore. And having a bunch of gold up when you need to have a
Yeah.
bunch of gold up,
I mean, it hoses.
Maybe
It hoses like it's another Shugenja hoser. Like that's really kind of what
yeah,
it is.
another
As though we needed
another
more
big
of those.
Yep, another big blow up a bunch of spells in a single unit deck. It really might kick in the face my all the cheap spell blitz deck with the earth spells. Like
If people play it, I think like the point that unguarded strike exists like really pushes these kinds of like things out pretty aggressively.
But I mean, there is a great basement metagame scenario for this where it's like, I keep losing to my buddies.
Yeah, of course,
Crap
and
deck,
that's
unicorn deck puts all the stuff down. And like, well, here's a great card to wreck them in the face, man.
yeah,
And
that's
like
like
that's
it's a great point that like that's a way to play L5R that exists and will like continue to exist as long as L5R cards are in circulation. So
yeah.
it's a cool card to have in the pool. Word from the Imperial Court: it's just like walking with the air.
So
Fear
this is
equals the
another one where I
obsidian.
get to just say, this is favorite political. Haha. Very equal to your target, except this is like way worse, right? Because it's
Yeah,
just a
because it's
stupid.
not totally pushed. It's like an honor card with an honor loss effect. For like that conversation I was having before.
I think I disagree. I think this is much more a Scorpion with the one Sensei Dishonor card, where it's like you have the Courtier, and you can borrow Courtier for the favor stuff.
Yeah,
So
Shibatsu
it's easy to
Sensei.
trigger the discipline, and but it's still a bad card.
Agreed.
It really needs to be a 2. That one really needs to be a 2 to get this card into rotation. Right now, it just doesn't do enough, and nobody will play it.
Your true colors, last one. Target your human non-Shadowlands personality. You reveal the corruption. Permanently give him Shadowlands the ability to Fear 4 and give him or her a +1 Force token to the honor. Not impressed. The taint ain't what it used to be.
With the sad eyes, don't be discouraged. Oh, I realize it's hard to take the courage, but I see your true colors shining through. I
You want to
see
know
your
what my
true
real
colors.
commentary on this card is? So this is the
That's
last card in the
my
set.
commentary, man. That's what
This
I
is the
got.
very last L5R card that we will ever be able to review, perhaps, wink,
Yep.
wink. But, did you notice we did not review Walking with the Void?
That's a bummer.
Did you notice this? Like, we're ending L5R never knowing what the completion of
What
that
was
cycle is.
the-
What could
Yeah.
Walking with the Void be?
Should we talk about this card at all? You just want to completely ignore that you can give your dude a Fear 4 effect and give him some force? That doesn't interest you at all?
Do you want to talk about it? I mean, do you know what I compare this card to in my mind? Arrival of the
What?
Obsidian Champion.
Yeah, that's not quite the same.
The last time that I
Do you
played
think
an open
they were going
ability.
for? I guess that's probably what they were going for, right?
The last time I played an open ability that turned a guy Shadowlands and gave him a fear effect, it was Arrival of the Obsidian Champion, and that was a slightly different card, and it just depresses me.
9 force, not a +1 force token.
It is
I
a
can't believe
permanently set up to 9
they
force.
don't give you like 3 force. Like it's just so.
So I'm saying the taint ain't what it used to be.
Eh.
So it's a card. Like Like where does this card fit? I can't play it on my already Shadowlands guy, so I can't like stack up the fear effects.
Play it in your deck with your free ninja follower as another free permanent +1 force.
Like
Because if
why would you want to
I
do
go Kagi on 1, play out my Fate hand to take a province on turn 2, and then lose on turn 4.
I mean, I really hate that I can't like this card is like because Fear 4 is a big fear, and so if I'm playing the like Spider all-in fear deck with Yajinden Sensei, this is a card I might actually want. Except that I can't target my guys because they're all Shadowlands by text of Yajinden Sensei. So like, where does it go?
Yeah. Okay, so this is unplayably bad, and it's just sad. It's a sucky card to end on. But how do we feel about this set? Really good, right?
It's awesome. Like it pushed design in a lot of cool new ways. There's a lot of cool stuff. Like L5R was still fresh, and like maybe it's like a going out on. I mean, not on top, but like going out in a really good place. But it's a big bummer to me that I see like all these interesting things they're doing, and these like they're pushing the power curve, and then they're just like they're taking away my Ultra Zord, and my mom's pulling me out of the Toys R Us by my wrist.
Yep. So, but we look forward to building some decks, brewing, and we're not falling into the ether quite yet. So we hope some of you will at least hang out with us and hang around, stay around. Maybe not all the time, but come in, checking in. We're gonna be playing some games, brewing some stuff. What's the first deck you want to build? What's the thing that's jumping out at you?
I mean, obviously, I want to tune up control.
Does it involve 3 Call-Out Assassins?
It does involve 3 Call-Out Assassins, but there's a couple different things. Like I want to dive down the Enlightenment rabbit hole. I want to dive down the Robo Crane Honor block it to see if it gets there. Just like because that's an easy question to answer. Like you just build the deck, and like you like goldfish it, and then like you're done. And then I want to play the deck I'm really excited about is Corrupt Mantis with the Oni Sensei, just like with Corrupt Efficient Gold.
So yeah, I mean I've got Oni Sensei and I've got Oni Summoning and I got Weird Blitz deck and like that's just like the 3 off the wall stuff. That's not even getting into the sort of real decks. Of which there are a number as well. So I mean this is a really well constructed stack and I'm really happy with it.
There's a lot to dig into. I'm really excited to do it, and I mean. Like, I think it's really silly to quit L5R now. Like, we just got a new set. Like, there's still some gas left in the tank. Like, we should at least finish out the year strong with this card pool and then,
see where we're
at, Like, everybody that's, like, writing L5R's obituary and saying, like, we're done, pack it up, boys. I think it's, like, this... Like, were people just waiting for the other shoe to drop to get out? Like, this is a good time for the game. Like, all the factions are well positioned. There's a lot of good supported strategies. Like, we've never seen, for example, so much doing across so many factions. We've never seen so much honor across so many factions. Like, why are we... Like, we've been playing this game for, like, a lot of us 15, 20 years. Like, why are we eager to get out now at the drop of a hat?
Yep.
So that was my impassioned plea. Keep playing. Rock on, guys. Come check us out. EnoughTalkL5R.com. We'll be posting some games and some brews coming up in the future. Maybe even some articles, but, let's not
dare to dream. Dare to dream.
All right, guys, this has been Enough Talk. Hope you watched for all 2 hours, because if you did, man, it's like watching a Marvel movie. You win a big thumbs up. You did it. Peace.